Andy Austin here with the third video in the series for better marketing for coaches. I'm going to add these videos to a playlist. The complete playlist link is going to be in a pinned comment in the comment section below the video. So if you want to see the others, if you haven't caught up with those ones, then just have a look in the comment section and the link will be there. Okay, so now third video in this series is going to be about knowing your customer. Now, I cringe. The reason I cringe when I talk about this is because this was the thing I was constantly being advised. Know your customer. And I thought, what? Please, no. That's not what I want to get involved in. Of course, now, all these years on, I now understand how important this is. And it was the thing that used to make me cringe when I used to hear it referenced. Let me break down the elements of this, because it's a huge subject. The whole thing about market forces and customer choices and what motivates customers and so on is a huge science and unto itself. These are just the little bits within that I pay attention to. Ultimately, it comes down to, why is the person booking to see you? And that's, I know it seems like an obvious question, but it may not be quite what you think it is. For example, when I started out and I was based in Southampton, this was pre-internet days. The internet was really just coming to become a thing. And marketing and advertising relied on the physical world. So posters, newspaper advertising, word of mouth, giving presentations, that kind of stuff. Why were people coming to see me? Well, I was unknown. I was a hypnotherapist. And the most important place you could have your details listed then was the Yellow Pages. And you remember the Yellow Pages? It was massive! There used to be competitions. Can you rip the phone directory or the Yellow Pages in half? Not by breaking the spine, but by going across the pages. It was that big. I don't even know if it exists anymore. The last time I saw a Yellow Pages, it was just a pamphlet for the local region. Now, the Yellow Pages was really key in terms of getting business. Why? Because people would look up hypnotherapist. They didn't have the internet like we have today. We take it for granted. And so why were people coming to see me? Because I was a hypnotherapist. Not because I was Andy Austin, Andrew T. Austin, not because I had the skill set that I clearly am able to demonstrate through multimedia of the internet. It's just going to be a phone number in a box advert in a newspaper or Yellow Pages or somewhere else. So people don't care who I am. They're usually going to shop on both price and convenience. So the people that I used to see came from within the locality. Now I see, because of the internet, I'm able to see people internationally. So people are looking for the local hypnotherapist. So back then, that's how I marketed myself. I was the local hypnotherapist. So I made sure my posters were seen everywhere. Every notice board across the city of Southampton had my poster on it, and I'm going to do a separate video on those posters, what I wrote, what they look like, where I stuck them, and so forth. I'll do a whole video just on postering. Those people were coming to see a hypnotherapist. So I had to present myself as a hypnotherapist. I did hypnotherapy stuff. The session must look like a hypnotherapy session. Now, I know when you get good at this stuff, you can basically do the skilled change work without doing the rituals of hypnosis. But the customer or the client who's buying hypnotherapy might go, well, it was good, it was interesting, wasn't what I was expecting, because they were expecting hypnotherapy. So in that, for marketing on that service, I've got to market hypnotherapy. And then I could give it some kind of generic things that I work with: confidence, nail biting, driving exam nerves, simple weight loss stuff, habits, phobias, that kind of stuff. And those were the clientele that I got. I got low-level problems from people who are otherwise highly functional, but have something that they believe hypnotherapy will help, because it's a notion of knowledge out there in the culture that says hypnotherapy can help you with nail biting and stopping smoking, losing weight, that kind of stuff. So that's one type of customer. Now, as I started to get a reputation, I'm still getting those people come to see me, but they're now seeing Andy Austin, the hypnotherapist. So now they have a particular interest in me and what I can do. And an area I was working with a lot at the time was hebephrenic schizophrenia and other schizophrenias as well. And I would appear on local radio, in the local newspaper when they wanted a quote. I was regularly in the local paper because I was seen as the expert to give a comment on whatever mental health issue was prevailing for the news at that particular week. And I gave local talks at local groups and those kind of things, and at the hospitals too, because there was a number of hospitals in the area. So I was now a hypnotherapist who is standing out from the others because he talks about schizophrenia. And that did get me a lot of attention, because hypnotherapists can't do anything with schizophrenia, can they? And so now that starts to get an interest where I now stand out from everybody else, predominantly because of the subject. Now, that subject I have to be an expert in. If you're going to stand out from anyone else and be an expert, you must be the expert. Simply curing the condition is not enough. I can't cure hebephrenic schizophrenia. That I never professed to. But I did profess an expert knowledge of the condition. And I knew the pharmacopoeia, the British National Formulary, which is basically the manual for prescribing drugs. I knew that inside out and back to front. I still do to a large degree. So you have to have the expertise within that. So now what's beginning to happen is I'm no longer somebody who is a generic hypnotherapist. I'm now becoming a hypnotherapist of note. So people are now coming to me because I have an expertise in a thing, but that's not why they were coming to me, because I hardly ever saw any hebephrenic schizophrenics. They were people who were going, okay, so you've got this kind of issue, you've got this kind of expertise, so let's see what else, can you help me with this? So now I was beginning to see clients who weren't nail biting, smoking, weight loss, confidence, driving exam nerves, that kind of stuff. They were now moving into people with problems, serious problems. All well and good. Now, the internet comes in, I have a website goes up, I start to profess my knowledge of neurology, because my background in that, and those kind of things. Now I start to become Andrew T. Austin. Now, my client group is completely different. I can't remember the last time someone came to me for driving exam nerves, nail biting, stopping smoking, weight loss. It's been years. I simply don't have those people come to me anymore. Why? Because I'm not marketing myself as a hypnotherapist. In fact, I don't market myself really as any type of therapist. I'm Andrew T. Austin. So now people are electing to come to me specifically because they don't want a hypnotherapist. They want specifically me. Now that's the position that's ideal for me because I have no competition. There's no one to compete with because the people that want those other people, they don't want me anyway. They're going to go to those other people. So the trick that I have found is start to become highly selective in why people come to see you. Now, if you want the nail biting, the stopping smoking and all the rest of it, then don't market so much on building an identity of yourself. Market on hypnotherapy or whatever the alphabet therapy is you offer. Market on that and profess to work with the local community and push out your message to the local vicinity. If you want to have people that are more interested in specifically you, then stop branding yourself as a hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, whatever the alphabet therapy is. Because that's what everyone else is doing, and you won't stand out from the crowd. You have to market specifically yourself. And that's largely what I do. Here's some other ways to think about this. When, pick an artist, Madonna, puts on a concert, people don't phone up the ticket office to go, well, what song's she going to sing? They don't do that. They're going to go because it's Madonna. They don't care what song she sings. And some people will follow their favorite artist around. And they'll go to the same, they'll go to every show the person does on that particular tour. As you know, I'm a Springsteen fan, and I've known people do that. I've been to one gig. That was enough for me. Too many people. So people will go to an artist or a person, and they don't really care what the product is. Now, meanwhile, if I'm going to sell training services, now predominantly I sell the metaphors of movement, what I had to do with that was I had to very much attach that to me. So people would come to my training courses largely irrespective of what the content was. When I came up with a new product and then would market that product, the majority of people who came to that event came because it's Andrew T. Austin teaching it, not because of the subject matter that was being taught. As time's gone on, what I'm increasingly doing, as I did with integral eye movement therapy, I separate myself from the brand. So now we have multiple people teaching integral eye movement therapy, and they're not necessarily selling the product of Andrew T. Austin. The brand is beginning to stand up on its own, and people come to a training not necessarily because of who the trainer is, although that will be an issue for some of those people, but because they're buying into the brand that is integral eye movement therapy. I'm doing the same thing now with metaphors of movement. We have other people training who are equally brilliant in their own right as trainers, now also teaching metaphors of movement. So again, what's happening is that metaphors of movement will become a brand that stands up on its own because it's being promoted by multiple faces, multiple personalities. And then I'm separate from that. So then I'm now free to as Andrew T. Austin, then to create the next product. I haven't got one, but I could, if I was that clever, I could come up with something else. Not yet. Still working on it. So are people coming to you because it's you or because of the product or brand that you offer? And it's a really important distinction to understand because your marketing must be congruent with that particular thing. It's worth asking people. You'll see this on feedback forms on websites. How did you hear about us? That's why they're asking that question. They want to know, how did you arrive at the point of becoming a customer of that particular product? How did you arrive at that? Because they can now check, is their ongoing marketing message congruent with what their customer base actually wants? So some people don't want you, they just want a therapist. They don't care who you are. Others, they don't want a therapist, they want you. That's the thing to work out. Both, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be the product and brand, or do you want to be the individual? And how does that tally with what the customer message is being and what the customer behavior becomes? So those are the things to start to align. As always, if you have any thoughts, comments, or questions on this one, stick them in the comment section below. There's loads more videos coming in this series. The questions people are offering and the counter examples, where essentially you've got a completely different view on this that works for you, do please share it. I'm not claiming at all this is the way it's done. I'm merely sharing, explaining what I do and how I do it. The next video I will do will be on postering. What to write on the posters, what they look like. Somewhere in the attic, I've got a folder of posters I used 25 years ago. I'll dig those out so I can show you those. So please use the comment section, click that like button. I'll see you in the next video.